Hi, everyone. I'm Harry Solomons. Welcome to our 1 year anniversary special of the Kingsgrove Sports Centre podcast.
Welcome one and all to the first birthday edition of the Kingsgrove Sports Centre podcast, and to celebrate this momentous occasion, we have lined up the original Mr. Cricket, the one who put the king into sport, making his international podcast debut, is Harry Solomons.
Thank you.
What an introduction. Goodness.
And on my far right,
just felt like clapping, sorry.
in his happy place,
It's my spot.
is none other than Stuart Ailey, joining us once again, Kingsgrove Sports Centre cricket manager extraordinaire, and I think you've got a few other titles, but
Yeah.
my name is Hamish Solomons. I'll be trying to keep this boat on the water for the next 45 minutes to an hour. We've got a ton of interesting questions lined up. Behind the knobs there
Here I
is the
am.
man who drives the podcast train.
I thought you were talking about ours. What?
Nick. G'day, Nick. How are you?
G'day, guys. How are you going?
Now, Nick, you've got a few things to tell us a little bit about our first birthday edition, what's been driving these podcasts, and what we've got in the future.
Well, look, I'm extremely proud to have been able to run the podcast for a year now. The fact that we've made our fortnightly schedule every 2 weeks for an entire year, haven't missed a single episode. In fact, we've had a couple of specials. This will be our second special episode in between our regular schedule. So I'm immensely proud to have made it a year following that schedule. And just wanted to say, like, the podcast began one of my older jobs. I listened to a lot of podcasts while I worked. And my favorite podcasts were people just having a real casual chat about an interesting topic. So when I'd come into work at Kingsgrove, I'd hear Stu and Hamish and all these guys at work. All of them play cricket on the weekends. Everybody's interested in it. And it's fascinating to me, as an American, not having grown up with cricket, still found it fascinating to listen to these guys come in and talk about cricket. I learned so much just listening to you guys talk. And so the idea sprung out of that, like, hey man, let's have a podcast. You guys obviously very knowledgeable, love the game. We can really do something good, more than just an hour-long ad for Kingsgrove Sports Centre, but can show how involved all of us are with the cricket community. That Harry's been for decades now.
Yep.
To have a show where we discuss the world of sport around or outside the business. The thing that everybody here just really loves cricket, and I think it's made for a tremendously good podcast. I'm so proud to have been the guy to kick it off.
And a fine job you've done getting it all together.
Thanks, man.
I know that we're not always an easy group to organise. We're all over the place most of the time.
We can be like cats
these days. Now, we've got tons to get through with all things Kingsgrove Sports Centre and cricket. But before we do so, you want to just bring us up to speed with where you can catch us in regards to the socials.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you everyone who does listen to the podcast. If you'd like to reach out to us, we'd love to hear from you. So you can reach out to us at Facebook at Kingsgrove Sports Centre, Instagram at Kingsgrove Sports, or Twitter at Kingsgrove Sport. You can listen to us you can watch us on video. If you're watching us now on YouTube, listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, or KSCpodcast.com.
Did you get all that, Harry?
Absolutely.
follows along.
Now,
Is it all of them?
moving right along into the business of this business, it's been a long time coming, but we've managed to track down Harry. And like you, I'm looking forward to having a good conversation in regards to the nitty-gritty, how this business got going, a little bit of your early life story in regards to getting to Australia and starting Kingsgrove Sports Centre. Let's give us a little bit of a rundown on yourself. You were born, we won't give your age away, somewhere around 1946 and 48, perhaps.
No, actually it was 47. But
Jeez, come on.
so I'm 71, nearly 72, guys.
Right, and you were introduced, let me get this right, you were introduced to the game of cricket by an American-Italian Jesuit priest.
Correct?
So he's the man behind this whole Kingsgrove Sports Centre thing. If it wasn't for
it's his fault.
this, I guess he was born in Italy?
Born in Italy, lived in America.
And then moved to Sri Lanka to work at the convent or the school that you were at.
Correct.
Introduced you to cricket.
He was my rector at St. Aloysius College in Galle, Sri
Yep.
Lanka.
And that's where it all started. Your cricketing journey, obviously loved it. Played a decent level back in Sri Lanka.
Certainly did, mostly school cricket, and as you know, school cricket is massive in Sri Lanka. It's as big as Test cricket or first-class cricket. So I, as all Sri Lankans do, loved my cricket. And when I went to my school in Galle, I was introduced to this fantastic Reverend Jesuit priest, Father Morelli. Never forget him. He was my mentor. He introduced me to cricket, and that's where it all took place.
Right, and obviously you played pretty well. I think you might have told me growing up that you played a bit of Sri Lankan schoolboys cricket representative stuff.
Yeah, that's right. We weren't given much of an opportunity then. Cricket in Sri Lanka was all about Colombo schools. I came from an outstation school, which was Galle, so we didn't have the opportunities. The school was not very wealthy, one of the poorer outstation schools, so we had limited facilities. However, I enjoyed playing the game, and when I did, I played fairly well. Got picked once for the Sri Lankan schoolboys against the London schoolboys, which I was very proud of. But all in all, my main part of cricket came at the Galle Cricket Club, where I am now a life member. So I played my club cricket for Galle, Galle Cricket Club, and which was the home of the famous Galle Stadium now. And then, of course, I was lost to cricket for quite a few years. I started by becoming a plantation manager in my working career, and I was lost to cricket, played a bit of social cricket, and then of course arrived in Australia.
Hang on.
What?
This sounds a bit suspicious.
What do you mean?
What sort of things were you planting in the jungles there of Sri Lanka?
Well, I was
Well, it can only be one thing in Sri Lanka, isn't it?
Curry.
No.
I was a tea and a rubber planter.
Oh, rubber?
I was actually a rubber planter first.
Coconuts.
And then went on to tea.
All right, Harry, you somehow ended up in Australia. That we know for a fact.
Correct.
What happened there?
Well, I ended up in Australia and started playing a bit of club cricket.
Why did you move to Australia, though? What brought you to
Well, my
moving from one country to another? It's a big move.
my family had already moved up here. My brothers were in Australia, and the conditions in Sri Lanka were not all that hot. It was tough going. I did have a very good job in Sri Lanka, but of course I had to be with family, and the future was here. Things were changing drastically in Sri Lanka. So I decided to carry you on one arm. You were not yet one. And then arrived in Australia and started work 5 or 6 days later, and started playing for a cricket club. I did not have time because my working career was very important, so I did not have time for high grade cricket. So I was quite happy playing club cricket in the park, and of course that's where you learnt all your cricket.
Well, that's where we all learn our cricket in those
Yeah.
fields all around Sydney. Now, obviously, it's pretty well documented that you worked in a jail to start with. Interesting start in Australia. How did it then come about that you would end up purchasing a little cricket shop?
Well, I happened to be a activities officer. That's what they called him in those days, and I used to go out to buy stuff for some of the prisoners. I happened to choose the easy way out. There was a small store in Kingsgrove, and it was a good cricket store. I used to buy my own personal cricket gear there. So one day when I went to buy the prisoners' gear, they were closing up, and I asked them why they were closing up, and they said they were going into wholesale football. And I said, but we need a cricket shop in Kingsgrove. I said, I'll buy you.
Selfishly, how can we not have a cricket shop in my suburb?
So I ended up, I had no money. I knew nothing about business, but I ended up borrowing some money, and they said I could start my own, that they were closing down. So I ended up buying some stock from them, which, because I didn't know anything about business, happened to be pretty awful stock.
Wasn't all left-handed, was it?
And
We might have to talk the customers through that one.
And then we got going, and I thought ultimately, look, we're not doing too well. We're not going too flash. I think I will have to specialize. And of course, the only thing I knew was cricket. I was happy with the club cricket I played. So I decided I would specialize in cricket, and that's where it all started.
Right, and I guess they say the rest is history as the business grew and grew, and it is what it is today. We've put up a post recently, Nick, about Harry being on this show, and to feel free to ask plenty of questions. And geez, in the questions,
we did.
Yeah.
We got some really, really good response to that. Got tons of questions people are interested to ask Harry. So,
all right, Stewie, you want to kick us off with the first question for Harry?
Well, I think actually we might have probably answered
We
the
probably
first.
have,
Well,
but
we answered the first question.
Yeah.
let's go to for the sake of making sure our listeners know that we are checking out their questions.
So
Let's go through
this
them.
is from Rhino_Starry. Why did you start playing cricket, Harry?
Well, having been a Sri Lankan and having played a lot of cricket in Sri Lanka, I was starved of the game in my last few years in Sri Lanka. So when I came to Australia, another great cricket-loving country, what else could I be doing?
Yeah.
Sri Lankan and now an Australian, and that's when I started playing cricket. I had to.
So you just grew up loving the game, even a small child.
Just what you have to do.
In Sri Lanka and in the subcontinent for that matter, everybody loves the game, and cricket. Sri Lankans breathe their cricket, and I was one of them. I followed the game. I loved Australian and English cricket at that time, and this was my way out to get known, possibly to meet more people. It was a great social outing. I met beautiful people through that.
That's the thing that I remember growing up in the household, and you playing in the various club teams that you had, is that you made some very, very strong friendships, which was important at that stage of our lives, given that we just arrived in the country.
Correct. And a lot of those people are still very good friends of mine, and some of them are still customers of mine.
Yep. All right, we've got a question here from Ben Menenti.
Well, actually, I reckon we could probably put the next two questions together.
Probably,
Yep.
yeah. I'll figure out how to put them on screen.
Both from Kingsport ambassadors.
Both from
Ben Menenti and Gurinder Sandhu.
both from BBL players.
Both PBL players, yeah.
All right. So what got you into the business side of cricket? We've sort of covered it, but I guess in a nutshell, I guess you could say it was to make a living for starters, but it was your passion.
Certainly my passion, and let's face it, every Australian or almost any individual would like to have their own business. I was working shift work at the prisons, some of it very late.
Shift.
He said shift. Did he say
work.
shift?
Shift.
Correct.
Sounded like
Shift
something
work.
else to me.
Shift work in, and it was tough going. Everybody likes to start a business. It gives you that freedom, and I didn't know how tough it was, and it was tough. We fell down, we got up again and walked, and we fell down again and we got up again. So it was, but it was good. But I had the freedom, and through that business, I've met so many wonderful people, and none better than most of the customers we have now.
So the next question is again from another Kingsport ambassador who's doing very well currently overseas in the Caribbean Premier League. So Chris Green has written in, and he wants to know where your passion for the business comes from, sort of started, and where do you see it going in the future?
I want to know how he maintains it.
Well, how do you maintain? Well,
Yeah,
also
exactly.
that. How do you make? Yeah, after. I mean, obviously you've been. So it's 43 years the business has been going. Yeah. How do you? You said you sort of fell down a couple of times. Was there any time where you thought maybe it might be time to get out and do something else?
Well, how do I maintain it? Certainly, it's survival. You've created the monster. I have staff, quite a good young staff who depend on me. If I don't keep working, they don't have a job. If I don't keep working and Kingsgrove doesn't go well, I don't have a store or a business. So the passion is created by my obvious love for cricket, and the fact that I have now created what is now Kingsgrove Sports, and I've got to keep going. If I don't keep going, we don't eat. It's simple as that. And I how do I keep the passion going? I meet my customers, I meet my staff every day who also love the game. I meet people who love the game. I'm involved with sponsoring cricket, so it's all about cricket, and the passion just keeps growing as we go on, you know.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, we've had questions from Ben Manenti, Gurinder Sandhu, and Chris Green.
I gotta say thanks. I did ask if those guys would reach out, and I got good responses from our Kingsport guys. So thanks for that. Appreciate it.
All right, here's a good one actually. Vipey A has asked, Harry Solomons, I'm a big fan of yours. God, the guy's going to get a big head here. And I see you as my role model, please. My question, how is the Australian cricket retail market changed from your early days compared to the current market now?
Well, it certainly has changed. In the old days, it was wrought about creating relationships. Today, I notice it's all about online and social media. How has retail changed? In the old days, as I said, it was about relationships. So there were tough times when I initially started. Then there was good times when the going was really good and it was easy, and the clubs used to buy a lot of gear. And then I used to meet a lot of customers and things like that. And now certainly it has changed in the sense that social media has come in and online sales have come in. We're joining in and we're doing quite well from it. But it certainly has changed, and retail in Australia is changing and will change in the future. It is up to us also to change with the times, and I think with guys like you and my staff, I think we've changed. My wife has been a great help to me in terms of that change. She's very involved with the business, and we've had to change with the times.
Do you find that Sydney, the city it is now, as opposed to going back, anywhere between 10 to 40 years, people in a bit more of a hurry, they don't have as much time on their hands? Because I remember back in the old days, people used to come in, they used to almost settle in for half a day almost. They used to have a tea or a coffee over sales. Is it harder to create those relationships now in this day and age in Sydney?
It's a lot harder because you meet them a lot less. In the old days, we would get clubs who'd come, we'd stay up in the evening and have a beer with not only coffee, but certainly a beer and sometimes dinner with your customers, and then spend a fair bit of time. The clubs would need a fair bit of gear. There was times when the clubs would buy the gear for all the participants.
Well, you'd have the big club kit.
Yeah, the big club kit.
Very rarely see that these days.
We did a lot of business and built a lot of relationship with those club members and certainly the club officials. Today, people are obviously time poor, and that's one of the major changes I have seen. But of course, we are moving on with the times, and there are certainly the demographics have changed. We've got more subcontinental customers now. All shops, especially Kingsgrove and Parramatta and Penrith, there is the subcontinental cricketers who have been a great help to us. They're keeping us going. But we have participation levels in Australia and New South Wales. We have an aging population, and we've got to change with the times.
Yeah. Yeah, all right. Here's an interesting question from someone I think you might know. Dean McGee, 54,
former employee
asks, how many bats do you reckon you've knocked in over the 43 years?
Wow. Well, yesterday I spent knocking in at least 30 bats last evening. I reckon into several tens of thousands
Yeah.
in
I
my
reckon.
40 years.
It's
Yeah.
gotta be.
Yeah.
It's gotta be. That's
I'll ring him at like 9:30 at night, and he'll answer, and all you can hear is knock, 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 knock. Go home, mate. Go home.
Yeah, right.
I've had both shoulders done, both shoulders operated
Probably why.
from rolling cricket bats and knocking
And
in.
knocking 'em in.
And I would say several thousands
It's
and
gotta be.
thousands of bats.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
How come Dean didn't ask
Lots.
me that question?
Well, he's got-
I don't know.
I reckon
I
have
don't
to
know.
be several bats.
Several bats.
Mind
for
you,
you.
in the-
Several bats for you.
Mind you, in the old days, one Saturday afternoon, I could be here till 9 o'clock once we finish work at 3 or 4, and I would be knocking in bats, and I could knock in several hundred.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
In a day.
That's
Yeah.
nuts.
Is
That's
this
a lot.
this next question's got to be a
I
stitch
love
up.
this next question.
You better ask this one.
What, this one? Who was the better employee? Mark Waugh, Steve Waugh, or Hamish?
It's actually a good question.
It is a solid
It's a
question,
good
really.
question.
Can you rank the Waugh brothers as
No pressure.
past employees?
Well, certainly.
I can't believe I've been put in the same
Category.
same sentence.
You feel-
A very good question. Certainly, it was not Mark Waugh. Certainly,
It's almost legendary, isn't
Yeah.
it?
and it's certainly not Steve Smith. So that leaves
Steve
one.
Waugh.
Steve Waugh.
Steve
Steve
Waugh.
Waugh. or Steve
All
Waugh.
right.
So it was not Steve Waugh either. So that leaves one left. So I'll have to
Process
vote with
process
him.
of elimination. It's your
Wonderful.
son.
But it-
What about
but it was-
what about Michael Clark?
But it was a tight contest.
Yeah. You would.
Yeah, Michael Clark also worked here.
Yeah.
Now Michael was a breath of fresh air to Kingsgrove. Actually, he was quite a nice guy, and
He was only a young fella,
and
Yeah.
he was
17 or 18.
He was young, came from the west of Sydney. I think he was used to some work, and Michael was actually a good staff member. He was a good worker. And not only was he a good worker, but he also got on very well with the rest of the staff, and he was actually a very good team man. I have a lot of time for Michael Clark, and he was certainly a good employee.
Very good.
He was better than Hamish. That's what we're getting. That's
I
what
think
that's what we're getting.
I
That's
think
what I'm
that's
getting.
what
That's
we're
what
all
I'm
just
getting.
trying to
That's
get
what I'm
at.
getting from that. Yeah.
He packed a lot more boxes than Hamish ever did.
Yeah, that's right. All right. How about let's.
I reckon, hang on. The one thing I can say, no one got sacked more than, in this business, no one's been sacked more than I have.
Yeah.
That's true.
And reinstated the next day when we made up.
I didn't reinstate him. He just arrived.
He just turned up.
That's pretty much the truth. I said, what am I going to do? I can't go out tonight unless I...
I'll just turn up.
Yeah.
I'll just turn up. All right. Let's maybe talk. Let's talk some bats. Let's give some customers a bit of insight. Harry, what do you? So this is from Kayla_Ferg64. What do you look for in a good bat?
Well, I think it's very easy to sell somebody a good bat, and sometimes people worry too much about their cricket bats. I think the most important thing is the pickup, and if it feels good in your hand and the pickup is good, we then use the hammers to check the ping or the punch in a bat. If the punch is good and you can afford that bat, that's your bat. So that's how I look at a cricket bat. I don't particularly care about the stickers. I don't worry a lot about the grain. Of course, it is important. But if it has a good punch, if it has a good pickup, and my customer can afford it, that's the bat I would recommend to the customer.
Yeah, great answer.
So Dilesh_24 asks, is a two-tone bat? Does that have the same impact as a single tone bat? So if it's got a bit of redwood on the side, does that make a difference?
Well, absolutely no difference. My current bat, which is an absolute ripper, is a two-tone bat. It has got a fair bit of redwood in it, and it's an excellent bat. So it really doesn't matter whether it's a grade 1, grade 2 or grade 3. If the bat pings and it picks up okay for you, that's a bat for you.
Take it. It's a winner.
Kale Hardy 1 has asked, and this is a difficult question for you to answer, what's your favourite brand? So I'm going to expand on that and say, was there a brand that you favoured before you had the store? What brand did you like to use?
Well, I think when I started off, I was a bit of a Schlesinger man. I had some excellent grey nickels when I was playing cricket, club cricket. Really excellent grey nickel bats. Of course, then the famous Simons came along, and which I helped establish in Australia and in the rest of the world. The Simons were a good bat, and I'm hoping one day I could bring it back.
I remember you scoring a ton with a mitre at one stage.
Correct.
Mitre.
Correct. Mitre
Turning back the clock
Oh,
there.
boy.
Mitre had a promotion, and so I thought I'll buy myself a mitre, and if you score 100, you get a bat free. So I thought, why not try and get a free bat? So I used a mitre, bought myself a mitre, and then I got my got 100, and I ended up with the second mitre.
There you go.
But I wouldn't say it was a great bat.
Yeah, they did promise a good
But
steal.
anyway, talking about bats, I really, it really doesn't matter. Grey Nichols, Kookaburra, Gun and Mow, Puma were a good bat. What are the current bats? Duncan Fernley in the old days were good bats. We have Kingsport now, and we have the SS Ton and MRF. They're all good bats. I think it just
SG,
depends on
SG
the-
this year, yeah.
SG's come in.
SGs are making some beautiful bats now. So most of the bats are good, and as
In
long
other
as
words,
you get-
most of the trees are good
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
as
keeping
long
all
as
the-
you buy it from Kingsgrove
Yeah, it's got to
Sport.
have that. What makes a bat? The little Kingsgrove
The
sticker,
little
right?
Kingsgrove sticker.
Yeah.
Well, it's a
That's
seal.
important.
It's a seal of approval.
Yep.
Well, actually, maybe let's go on to, you mentioned Kingsport. So, again, another one of our Kingsport ambassadors who we're very proud of, because he made his list A debut yesterday with Tasmania and took 3 wickets. So, Nathan Ellis from down in
Congratulations.
Down in Tassie.
Congratulations.
There hasn't been a
Nathan.
bloke that's probably worked harder to
Yeah.
get to that point in time than Nathan. He deserves a big well done.
Yeah.
And Maxi, first
And
wicket.
first wicket of
Glenn
Glenn
Maxwell.
Maxwell. So he wants to know how you came up with the names for the Kingsport bats: Immortal, Attitude, Noble Willow, Deadly. He's hoping this is not straight out of your Tinder bio. Especially, he certainly hopes that the Big Mondi is not on his Tinder bio.
That's very interesting. The Big Mondi happened to be.
Where's the epic?
The Big Mondi
no, that was yours.
created.
That is from his Tinder bio.
That was yours.
The Big Mondi was created through coincidence. I was drinking with a very good friend of mine, Gary Mundy, and we were talking about cricket bats, and he loved the fact that I was bringing in Kingsport. And I said, Gary, Big Gary, I'm going to bring a bat in your name, and I called it the Big Mondi, and that was created over a beer. So, I think Hamish was Immortal your name.
I thought he was about. I was created over it.
Was Immortal your name.
No.
No, Epic was Epic. I think Epic was yours.
Epic,
Epic
yeah.
was yours. Yeah.
Is that
Okay.
a Faith No More reference?
Faith No
dude?
More.
Wow. Man, I didn't
I
know that
can-
after all this time. That's awesome.
I can certainly tell you this. The Noble Willow was my name.
Yeah.
I love that name. I've in fact named my farm and my house and my property.
And your fourth daughter.
And called it Noble Willow.
Noble Willow. Oh dear. I'm just trying to look for another.
he's scanning
the list of
I'm just looking
questions.
for. I'm just looking because some of these might not make, may not necessarily make the greatest of questions. Actually, all right. Look, since we're on the topic of Kingsport ambassadors, one of possibly our first Kingsport ambassador.
Certainly one of the
I
first.
think we might have signed her up first. So the great Alex Blackwell wants to ask you a question, Harry. So it says, Harry and Kingsgrove Sports team do not shout out our own praises, but we do support cricket in lots of ways. So she wants to know what sort of ways that we help or have helped cricket over the years.
Wow, Alex Blackwell, what a lady. Tremendous asset to New South Wales and Australian cricket. But how have we helped Australian cricket or New South Wales cricket?
All cricket.
All cricket.
All cricket. Well, we have to give, and that's been one of my goals. We have to give if we're going to get. We give respect, we get respect. We give love, we get love back. So we have to give to the community to get something back, and there's no better way than doing some sort of sponsorships, helping clubs raise money to come and shop with us. So we have over 40 years given a fair bit to cricket, and that is to keep cricket going. And if there's no cricket, there's no Kingsgrove Sports, and there's no jobs. So if we don't give, we don't get, and that has been my general obligation to cricket. And where I can help, and where I can make cricket available to more people, I've got to help. And the whole idea is to get bums on seats, to get people participating, and so you help.
Yeah. So yeah, you've sponsored a lot of the junior cricket associations. You've sponsored Cricket New South Wales for a long time.
I think it's
helping
more,
out the grade competition.
More of a matter of who has any sponsored.
You've helped out players going overseas. You've helped out players going on tours. We help out a lot of the female players getting into cricket when obviously they started becoming a bit more professional in terms of supporting them with gear, because they weren't getting gear, weren't getting good gear from the big guys.
Various charities,
yeah, lots of charity work. So we've done lots. And like Harry says, it's about giving back to cricket. Because if you put it out there, then hopefully you can get it in return.
Well, women's cricket is a great example, and I've been associated with women's cricket for nearly on 40 years, and I've seen the way women's cricket has grown, and that's a tremendous benefit to women's cricket what we have done. But we have also created in Kingsgrove something quite special. We brought out the new innovative things, be it the type of tracksuit pants in cricket that we use now. In the old days, it used to be cricket trousers. We brought the
used to be the flannels,
the different types of shirts. We brought the cricket bags. In the old days, it was just a small cricket individual bag. Today, say we sell thousands of cricket bags of all types and all brands, and they're beautiful bags. In the old days, you didn't have that. So we have also created a shopping environment for the cricketer and made it much easier for him and much better and more attractive to the cricketers.
Yeah.
The greatest invention in the history of life. Wheels on a cricket bag.
I remember at that time when it happened, Grey-Nichols introduced
carrying the coffin.
Oh. I remember wheels on cricket bags when Grey-Nichols introduced this. I was wondering whether it would ever work. The first year it didn't, and I told Grey-Nichols that. And then the second year it took off. It was unbelievable, and it's the best thing that has ever happened since
you can't do without it.
Sliced bread.
No, the best thing from there would be someone to pack your
kit. At the end of the day, yeah, packing your own kit. Anyway, here let's go a bit further down memory lane. Now you have been lucky enough to meet a lot of great cricketers, and you've also got to play with a couple. Do you remember playing cricket with Doug Walters?
I certainly do. I've played a bit of cricket with Dougie Walters, and he is considered as a very dear friend to me, and possibly one of the nicest guys I've ever met. Mm. Yes, I remember playing with Dougie.
Can you tell? Is there an interesting story?
What about the time you dragged him out to play in your club team against Illawarra Catholic Club, from my memory?
Correct.
ICC.
Doug had just retired from cricket. He was working with me, and we were with Simons, and I asked Doug what he was doing that weekend, and I said there was a bit of a promotion. We were trying to raise awareness with the Illawong Cricket Club. At that time, I was with the Illawong Cricket Club. I was president of the club, and I asked Doug whether he would like to play in a match, and he turned around to me and he says, I'll give you a Saturday. And that was going to be a tremendous promotion. So what we did was, we were playing Illawarra Catholic Club, our mighty opposition at that time, and they were a very good club and a great bunch of blokes.
Still are.
So I asked Dougie whether he could play in this match, and we would have a dinner after that and a bit of fun. And Dougie, lo and behold, said yes. And I had to register Doug, so we had to get him through the local park registrations. And
Imagine
Dougie,
the bloke going,
and Dougie came to play.
KD
and,
Walters? Surely not.
No.
and funnily enough, there was a state match going on at the SCG that very same day. And I think there was a crowd of about 100 at the SCG, and there was over 300 people
At
Gannon's Park to watch Dougie play a local competition, and he didn't let us down. He was dropped at, I think,
0.
he was dropped at 0, was he?
I think
or
so.
was
I
it
think
at
that's-
0 and dropped again at 19?
Was he put down on purpose? Was it?
I don't know. I think it was-
Could you imagine he got the bloke that took
when he went out to bat, did he put out his durry?
I remember him getting dropped, and I don't know whether, I think he may have been dropped on purpose because there would have been many people disappointed. And Doug went on to get 119 not out. I think
144 or something.
Was it that?
Yeah.
Anyway, and it was a great day. And I remember particularly one of the Illawarra boys was getting married that evening, and he came to play. He was a fast bowler. He came to play that morning or that afternoon, and had to leave after he had bowled to Doug. So he left for his wedding that day.
That was the highlight of his day.
That was the best.
Things went downhill
I
after
wonder
that.
what was the highlight. But,
That was the highlight.
Well, the low light was when some bloke purposely dropped the ball off his bowling.
Yeah. Now, Harry, you need to try and guess who asked this question.
It's an anonymous question.
It's an anonymous question. Well, we know who asked it. Now, you have met Sir Don Bradman and Keith Miller. What do you think of them as cricketers and individuals?
Does Harry already know who asked that question?
I don't know. Who do you?
I was
asked you that question?
I was asked to see if you could guess who asked that question.
Let me think.
I could give you a clue.
I will have a go at this one. A certain guy once did introduce me to Keith Miller, who's a great individual and a great personality, and one of the best personalities I've ever met. Was this question asked by Brian Breakspear?
No, it was not.
No. Little closer to you.
Yeah, a little closer.
Yeah.
Let's be fair, a lot closer.
Yeah, very close. You're related to them.
Oh,
Yeah.
not me.
No, not you. Not you. No. It's one of your brothers.
Not Mark Solomon.
Yeah,
Correct.
Mark asked that
Ah,
question.
there you go.
Correct.
There you go.
So you were lucky enough to meet the Don.
Yes, I was lucky enough to meet the Don, and I met him in his home. He invited me to his home. He gave me 5 minutes when I wrote to him, and I said I'd love to meet him. He gave me 5 minutes, but kept me there for 45 minutes, and I had a cup of tea with him and with Lady Jessie. So it was one of the highlights of my life.
How nervous were you? Were you nervous, or were you pretty relaxed going into it?
No, I was quite relaxed. I think my taxi driver was more nervous because he got the opportunity to meet the great Don too.
Wow.
So no, it was an experience I will never forget. Possibly one of the greater experiences in my life. But you won't believe it. I did meet him 2 years later, and I told my wife, I've got to go and talk to that man. It was at a function. I got to go and talk to the Don. I've just got to go and say hi. And of course, there were a lot of people around the Don. And as they cleared, and I saw the Don alone, I said, this is my chance. I'm going in. And as I went, he saw me coming, and from the back of his eye, he turned out to me and he said, hello, Mr. Solomons, how is business?
Oh, wow.
Oh, man.
Oh boy.
And this was 2 years later, and he remembered who I was. And he knew I was in business. And of course, we wrote to each other a few times, and I sent him a present every 27th of August when it was his birthday and yours, Hamish.
Oh, that's right. You guys do share a birthday, don't you?
I think he had some sort of calendar going. And he's going, right, wife, the moons are aligned.
So, and he would always write back and thank me for his present. I sent him good Ceylon tea, Sri Lankan tea, and so many other things. Of course, Miller was totally different. Miller was the personality. He had more personality, his little finger, than most cricketers have in their own whole bodies. And he was just an outstanding individual. And he had some memory. He had a memory of all his visits to Sri Lanka and whom he met. And he would even name the people he met. And unbelievable man. And certainly a good cricketer, but never took it seriously.
No. What was that? What was his famous quote about when someone asked him about how do you handle pressure?
Yes, Brian.
He said something about. He said, the pressure. There's no pressure in cricket. Pressure is a because he was a fighter pilot in the war. So pressure is a Messerschmitt, a German plane on your backside.
Yeah.
That's pressure.
Yep.
It was funny. Another one of his quotes was, and Brian Booth, the great Brian Booth, told me that when he was captaining New South Wales, the team was full of Australian players, 9 or 10 Australian players in the New South Wales side, and he would captain and he would come late. Of course, he's always had a good night.
Turning up the tuxedo a couple of times, wasn't it?
Yes, he would turn up late. He would get in his whites. Walk into
the good old days.
Walk into the ground and he'd look at the boys and he'd say, "I'm taking first slip. The rest of you scatter." That was the great Keith Miller.
Right.
All right. This is a good question. What do you think of the game, or what will the game look like in another 10 to 15 years from William C? It's an interesting one because obviously in your time at Kingsgrove Sports Centre, the game has changed dramatically with the different formats that have come into play. How much more change can cricket take, I guess is what he's asking.
I certainly hope not too much. They're now talking about 100 ball overs.
Yep.
And I
Game.
think...
It's a long over.
Yeah.
It's all over if I had to bowl 100 ball over.
I certainly hope not too much because it's more than probably one can take. But having said that, the changes have been good for the game. It's made it interesting. I hope Test cricket will always prevail, and so with the T20 game. But there will be changes and certain changes for the better, and maybe certain changes not for the better.
Kobe F has a question. Who is the greatest cricketer that's come into the store? Who do you?
Oh, it's got to be the Viv for you, surely.
Viv Richards.
That was a good day.
Certainly,
Yeah.
Viv Richards has come into.
How
the
good was
store.
he that day?
Yeah.
How long ago is this?
About 4 or 5 years ago.
5 years ago, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Answered
Certainly,
questions
and
from the public.
he was outstanding. He was
Yeah.
so friendly with everybody, and he was outstanding, and certainly the best cricketer I have seen, if not certainly the best batsman I have seen in my era or in my time. So he was great. There was also Richie Beno.
Richie.
Ah, right.
Richie did come in, yep.
Called in. Alan Davidson, the mighty Alan Davidson. Certainly a lovely man and a good friend of mine. Alan has come in. We've had
Alan Border.
We've had Alan Border. We've had Ricky Ponting. We've had Steve Waugh, the great Steve Waugh.
Gilly.
We've had
Gilchrist.
Gilly, certainly Gilly. We've had Matthew Hayden,
Sachin
Michael
Tendulkar.
Clark, and Sachin Tendulkar. What better than that?
Steve
Those
Smith.
names.
Yeah, Steve Smith.
Steve Smith and Imran Khan, now Prime Minister of Pakistan. So certainly...
That's Kingsgrove Sports Centre for
That's
him.
good. Courtney Walsh.
Mind you, Courtney Walsh and Brian Lara had a hit here.
Yep.
Hansi Connier came here. So we've had quite a few names. We can almost
Put a 10 together.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what we could do. This was brought to my attention a few years back. We could put a very, very high quality Kingsgrove Sports and ex-staff member team together,
An
and it
all-star
would actually
team.
literally be guys who have all played first-class cricket.
World-class cricket, man.
We might follow that. And if you out there know of any famous cricketers that have worked at Kingsgrove Sports Centre, chuck it in the comment section. We'll see if we
What,
can
Hamish?
put together a
He
team.
wouldn't make
Do you,
it.
do you think Hamish Solomons would get a run in that team?
I got thrown in.
He's running the drinks.
I got thrown in as captain of the third 11, which
third
is pretty
yeah.
much my standard.
Yeah, fair enough. So who? Yeah. So you said Viv is probably the best cricketer that's been in. Was Viv your favourite cricketer?
Viv was the best I've seen. I wouldn't say he was my favourite.
You loved Sobers too, didn't you?
Sobers was just certainly the best cricketer all round that there ever was. And I think there's no disputing that fact. I think my favourite cricketer was Mark Waugh and Dougie Walters.
Do you have a best cricket memory of all time? That's from Diane N.
Wow. They're all memories, isn't it? All these wonderful cricketers who have been to the shop are some of my favourite memories. The fact that I organised the World Golden Oldies cricket tournament in 2006 in Sri Lanka. I managed to take nearly 350 people to Sri Lanka to enjoy the World Golden Oldies Championships or the World Golden Oldies Festival in Sri Lanka. I think that was a pretty good achievement. The fact that I met the great Don Bradman was an almighty moment. There's been plenty, and the fact that I won in actual fact the award for the ethnic businessman of the year, and Paul Keating gave me my award. So the fact that John Howard gave me the sports medal. These are all wonderful memories, but none so much better than the fact that on a daily basis I meet my regular customers, and I think that has to cap it all. The memories I have of my customers and customers to come, customers who have been here and have been here in the past have been tremendous.
I've got a favourite cricketer that we've missed that's certainly been here a couple of times. Kumar Sangakkara.
Oh, yeah.
The great man.
Wow. And Michael Slater.
Yep.
Michael Slater. I love watching him play. I think he had the feet of a ballerina. Kumar Sangakkara was just one wonderful player.
I just want to add, it might sound to someone who doesn't know Harry that it's sort of patronizing or whatever for him to say, well, my customers are a great memory, but I'm telling you, this guy is in the store serving customers still after owning the business for decades. Well, still serves customers on the floor.
Where did we drag it wide?
In fact, serving customers up until the point we recorded this podcast, and frequently posts pictures on Facebook of his multi-generational customers, families that have been coming to the store for 20 or 30 years. Harry takes initiative to post on Facebook about it.
Well, put it this way, if we didn't have our customer, we don't have Kingsgrove Sports.
Yeah, right.
And Kingsgrove Sports is all about the customers, and that's my priority is my customers, and to give them that experience when they come here. And it's in my culture. It's
in your DNA.
It's in my DNA.
Yeah.
So and that's how I like it to be.
Sweet.
Yeah, man.
Got a few more questions to get through.
There's a couple of questions. So Mudasa D asks, what is the secret to your energy?
Oh, Red Bull.
No, that's yours, mate. That's
a good question.
Passion.
I'm 71, coming on 72 now, and I'm still working. I think, firstly, I would say my energy is caused from the fact that I have to survive. If you think about it, we've created this, and if we don't survive, we go under. And it's very, very important that we do a good job at Kingsgrove Sports in serving our customers and surviving these tough times in retail in Australia. But also, very importantly, I think one of the reasons for my energy is that I try to remain as young as possible, in that I have young people around me. I've got young staff, and they keep me very honest and they keep me very young. I meet young people all the time. They are cricketers. So I think because of that, it's given me that energy to keep continuing. And if not for them, I don't think, I think I would shrivel up and get old and possibly right into the sunset.
You've also got 2 young knees and a new hip, so
Yeah,
That's
that
true.
helps.
Well, I've also got a young family.
Yeah, that's true.
And-
he's got
and-
young knees.
Yeah.
Yeah, young knees, young shoulders, and a hip.
Speaking of your family, did you make your daughter's first 3 initials SCG on purpose? That's from a Sabina _ Caitlin.
There's a pattern going on here.
Yeah, we'll get to the second one in a minute.
Oh, God bless my Sabina. You won't believe this, but till I saw that question on Facebook last night, I didn't realize.
Then it was
That her
SCG.
initials were
Her name.
SCG.
Has she got another middle
Spelled
name?
SCG. I did not realize.
Gabriel.
The only SCG I knew
didn't know that.
was Stuart
Jim
McGill.
McGill.
Yep.
SCG McGill.
And I didn't
There you go.
realize, and Sabina, I'm sorry, but great question. And I'm glad I did name you Sabina Caitlin Gabriel
Yeah.
Solomons.
There you go. SCG.
So I think the short answer is no, not on purpose.
No, not on purpose. Then this is controversial considering there's one here.
There's only one answer.
Who's your favourite child?
There's only one answer.
From Thames and Solomons.
It's always the first. And the best looking.
I think my favorite child would be, at that time, the one asking the question.
Very good. I was going to say Charlie the Wonder Dog.
And hopefully, I hope, when they do ask me that question, they're alone.
All right, here's one from Chris J.
I love this question,
not
Chris.
cricket related, but Harry Solomons, is it true you were stand-in double for Brad Pitt in the movie Troy?
Chris J, I don't know.
Wow, I don't quite understand that question. But if you have a look at my noggin here or my lemon here, and do you think I look anything like Brad Pitt? I wish I was.
I don't know. Maybe from far away. What about this question? So we noticed that he had a tough Ashes series.
Yeah.
Harry, what do you think of David Warner as a player and a person? And do you think he should be dropped from the Test team? That's from Dave Solomons.
Well, I certainly didn't think that David needed to be dropped in the 5th Test. I think he should have played, and so he did. Unfortunately, failed. I'm sorry to see that Khawaja wasn't opening with him. I think Khawaja should have been the opener. I think he has. I feel sorry for Khawaja. He has been led up the garden path, so to say, that he's batted opener, first drop, second drop, and gone up to number 6, and he's been shoved around a fair bit and not allowed to gain in confidence. He's a confidence player, and I would have loved to have seen him open. So David Warner, he absolutely should have been in the side. Unfortunately, he failed, and I hope he doesn't fail more, because if not, they may have to consider him only for ODI cricket and the T20. I'm a firm believer anyway that any cricketer, whoever they are, shouldn't be playing all 3 forms of the game. I think they should be only playing 2 forms of the game.
On the topic of the recent Ashes, it was a great series. There's no denying that. Would you have done things a bit differently in that 3rd Test? Maybe bowling attack-wise? Mitch Starc?
I have no doubt that we should have won that series 3-1. I'm shocked to. I was shocked to see that Mitchell Starc only played one Test. He should have been there. We needed that left arm hostility. We needed that variation from a left armer. We needed that aggressiveness from a left armer, especially in cleaning up that tail. We did not have Mitch Starc, and when he did play, we won that Test, and then he was dropped for the next match. I think, in my opinion, forget the fact that we didn't bat first on that last Test. I think if we had Mitch Starc playing that series, I think we would have won it 3-1.
Yep, I probably agree with that.
All right. Should we start to wind it up?
Yeah.
Nick, how have we gone time-wise? Is there room
time? Yeah, you got room for. I would power through quick responses on some of this last stuff. There's a couple of just well wishes, I think, toward the end there that I think are worth considering.
I've got a good one, myself. Is it true that you like to cry a lot during movies? Come on.
I'm a horrible romantic. I do cry at movies. I do cry even when I'm happy. I do cry a lot in.
Now that warms my heart.
There's nothing wrong with that, is there?
Absolutely not.
I feel like having a bit of
and I'm due for a big cry because because my pet beagle Charlie is in a bit of trouble at the moment and may need to be put away soon.
Yeah.
And I hope I don't have to do it.
Charlie the Wonder Dog is.
Well, that brought the mood down, didn't it?
Man, I've been through that too recently. That's not easy. No, sorry about that.
Well, let's pick it up. Let's talk about something slightly better. So
let's pick the mood up a bit.
Obviously, talking about the Ashes and Harry, you've known Steve Smith for a long time. You played cricket with his father.
Yep.
How happy were you to see him come out and perform so well in the Ashes series?
Well,
is that for you one of the great cricketing stories?
It certainly is. It's one of the top cricketing stories of the world. This guy, he went through tough times. He pulled himself together. It's a known fact that I'm a Steve Smith fan. I love the kid. I knew him since he was what 3 years old or 4 years old when he was running around with a bat. I played with his father. And he trained here. I used to sell him cricket bats. Steve lives for one thing. He lives for his cricket. He loves the game, and that's what he knows to do. And he had a tough time. He took his punishment like a man, and he's come back. And I couldn't be happier for him. It's a tremendous story, and the will that he has to do what he has done. We know he has a different technique, but he knows his game, and to achieve what he has achieved is tremendous success to him.
Absolutely, yeah.
Now it's funny that you have brought along a catalogue. You take this catalogue with you wherever you go,
just in case.
What is this catalogue? What does the whole theory of Kingsgrove and its catalogue mean to you and the business? It's almost legendary.
Yeah.
Yes.
People still talk about their old collection of catalogues and stuff like that.
We had a chat about this when we did the podcast with oh gosh, his name escapes me now. Why does I just draw a blank as soon as Gus Worland? Sorry about that.
Yes.
Yep.
How the Kingsgrove Sports Centre catalogue is sort of an institution in Australia.
I remember the early days of you putting the catalogue together. It involved not graphic arts departments and computers, but sticky tape and glue and cutting out pictures.
Absolutely. My first
it was like a
craft project.
Yes, exactly.
My first catalogue 40 years ago was handwritten. So I'm very proud of this, and Stu has put in a lot of effort, and so has
and Nick
and Nick and Rupande.
Yeah, definitely Rupande.
And it's got better, and everybody talks about it, and the readership is phenomenal. But the most important thing is, and the happiest times are when a mother or a father would come to me and say, little Joe's got his catalogue, and the writing's almost disappeared, or the print has almost disappeared, because he's been crossing everything he needs or crossing his finger along reading that catalogue. And then I've had many mothers who told me, my son even takes your catalogue to the toilet. So I hope it's not for the use of it, but
it's interesting. So yesterday we met with Rev from our marketing agency. He was saying that his godson, being in the young generation, doesn't spend a lot of time with much print media, many books. He's on devices more often. So he really treasures his Kingsgrove catalog, because it's almost like a little talisman for him.
There are some things historically you just need to have in your hands.
Yeah, right.
And a Kingsgrove catalogue, doesn't matter who you are, is one of those things, and you hear so many people just waiting to go to their letterbox to collect it.
Yeah.
Let's face it, if I had $1 for a parent who's told me that possibly this catalogue has partnered more people to bed than anybody else, I would be a rich man.
We are probably coming up on our time, guy. I would like to say, I would like to ask this question from Andrew Wilkinson, just out of curiosity, because it's an interesting question.
This is the question to end the podcast.
I think so.
This is the most
Andrew,
age-old.
You know,
question.
Andrew asks you what you think of pineapple on pizza.
Wow. I'm certainly not a fan of pineapple on pizza. I'll eat them separately, but
it's actually one of my favorite pizzas.
Yeah.
Hawaiian pizza is my jam.
Stop
man.
it! It's
my jam.
It's
Andrew,
a fruit.
Mate, but like grilled pineapple is delicious.
Andrew,
It's
I
meant
can
for cocktails, not for pizzas.
I can understand some hot chili sauce on a pizza.
Okay,
now,
Certainly not.
now we're talking.
Mate,
Man.
you can put hot chili sauce on anything.
Have
Doesn't
dinner
matter what
with
it
Harry,
is.
you'll
Doesn't
realize
what
how
it
much
is.
heat he can take.
Yeah.
All right, we've come to the end of our very, very special first birthday celebration.
I want to make sure we mention, because Origin Cricket Cup's another one that you have a lot of history with, and they just wrote on Facebook that you are a great friend of the cricket community from the Origin Cricket Cup.
That's very nice.
Well, there's so much we can learn from Origin Cricket. The other day I was there at their commencement of their tournament this year, and they had all these speakers and all these radio gadgets and announcements and lunch and entertainment, music at their T20 matches. And, there's so much we can learn from them and their enthusiasm, and good luck to them.
Right.
Rightio, we'll finish off with a huge thank you to all the people that have come in with questions, that take the time in their lives to listen to what we like to put out. A big thank you to you, Nick, for your hard work in getting this off the ground.
As I said at the start, it's been I'm immensely proud of what we do here. So
and
thank you guys for being a part of it.
He's there just about every show.
Yeah.
The
I was just
king.
thinking, I don't know if have I missed one?
Just the one. I think you had to hang out here when we went to Triple M. Other than that,
I've got to give these two boys and of course you, Nick, credit. You've got the voice for this thing.
So do you. You've been nice to listen to for the past hour.
I don't know. I might have a few ideas, but I think I've got a funny accent. And anyway, I hope most of you understood it and enjoyed what we had to say.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Once again, thank you. We will catch you later. Nick, you want to take us through our socials one last time?
One last time. If you want to contribute to the podcast, we'd love to hear from you. So Facebook at Kingsgrove Sports Centre, Instagram at Kingsgrove Sports, Twitter at Kingsgrove Sport. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, anywhere else you want to listen to the podcast. We're there. Thanks so much for joining us.
All right, catch you later. Bye bye.